Oh man, I didn't even see any of the countdown. I don't know. I think I might have a bad. I think I might have a bad signal. Hopefully, I don't have to reset too soon. But welcome to another episode slash edition slash installment of Free Thinkers. I'm one of the hosts, Q. Got other people coming in soon, I'm guessing. But I think we have an interesting show for you today. If you have not been on Free Thinkers before, first of all, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You know what? I'm curious. I don't know. I'm gonna have to put it in the comment thread. I don't know if I actually sent the link to the Facebook page. So when somebody else gets on there, I'm gonna have to make sure I send the link to the Facebook page. Um, so you go there, and that's where you catch the link. You can get on StreamYard. This is an open invitation conversation, so you are free to get on. Just make sure you have something in your ears. Also, be aware that there is adult language and adult content. So be mindful of who you listen around when it comes to children and other people who you may not feel comfortable having these conversations around. Um, and outside of that, yes, usually we go about 90 minutes. The way I'm feeling right now, I want to go about 60, but we'll see how that goes. Um, and yeah, just be prepared to come with your thoughts and ideas. And be prepared, hence free thinkers, to speak and think freely. That's all we ask, and that's how we have a good conversation. So um I think today's conversation is going to be pretty interesting. Today we are talking about finding your voice and finding yourself. It kind of came, we was in a group chat just thinking of what we were going to talk about. And from that, then it was we came up with the topic and was like, okay, I think that's a pretty good topic. So then I guess the first question that I would ask is, what does it even mean to find your voice? What does it mean to find yourself? And then the question I would ask is, do you feel that you found your voice? And if so, then what was the process? Ooh, so um, I have a thought. I don't know if this is correct. I'm gonna have to rub this off someone else. But one of my first thoughts that came to me is finding your voice has to be deliberate. Finding your voice, I don't think is something that you can just do by mistake. You may run across certain elements of it by mistake. You may find certain things of interest or you might connect in certain ways by mistake, but you have to be aware to know what your voice is, and you got to know that you're actually looking to find your voice. It's almost like a self searching. You gotta you have to be in search of something. It's like it's very hard to find something if you're not looking for it, because you if you don't know what you're looking for, then how do you know when you find it? And I guess one of the things I'm thinking about myself. Number one, I guess usually. So this is the thing, guys. Oftentimes, I come up with a variety of questions, and even when I come up with questions, I don't necessarily answer them or think about them myself. I just think about the question, but I don't necessarily examine all of the questions that I come up with. So I guess since it's just me, I'm going to have to think, and I gotta actually respond to my own questions. So let me okay. So the first question that I was going to ask: what does it mean to find your voice? Um, mm, I would say, first of all, being comfortable. Okay, well, finding yourself is being comfortable in your own skin, being one with yourself, not being conflicted about your mannerisms, your ideas, the things that you like and dislike. You are completely okay. Well, let me say it like this: you're completely okay with who you are becoming in the process of your life. I had to catch myself because um um finding yourself is not necessarily about it doesn't mean that you've arrived at a destination. It doesn't mean like, oh, I found myself, I'm here. Part of finding yourself is just understanding where you are in the process of life and being okay with that. Oftentimes, you get a lot of people who you're in the present state of life, but you feel that you should be further along. You feel that certain things have missed you. Um, you don't feel at ease with where you currently are in life. So, because of that, you haven't really found yourself. A large part of it is like finding your space, finding your tribe, finding your group, finding the people around you that fit. So when you wake up in the morning, you like, yeah, I am here. I am who I am supposed to be. Everything that is supposed to happen within my life is lining up in the way that I see fit. So that's the part where I talk about finding yourself, finding your voice. It's also something where are you free to say the things that you want to say? Do you understand your likes and your dislikes? Do you understand your affiliations? Like, where do you understand um who you ride for and what you push back against? All of those things are part of finding your voice. Ooh, I just had a thought. Um, and this is what I throw out there to anyone listening, even the people that's on right now.
Oh, Q, can you change? Is there a way for
If
you
you
to
could
change
give a
surviving a
percentage,
breakup?
what's the
You hear me,
uh-oh.
Q?
Say that again, Denise. You
Can
skipping
you
around
change
a
it?
lot.
It says surviving a breakup instead of what we're talking about right now on the screen.
I cannot hear you.
Oh, really? Okay. Sorry.
Change what on screen?
Can you hear me now? Am I breaking up? Or do I sound muffled in any way? No?
I can
I
hear.
cannot. Everything is real choppy and robotic, and I bet you that could be me.
Oh.
That could be
Yeah,
me. It's a good
you're
chance
frozen
that my
right now.
internet is chopping
You're
up.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
you
you're
frozen.
frozen right now. Who's the other person on? What's your name?
you say
Jermaine,
I'm real choppy.
What's your name?
Jermaine.
Jermaine. Okay, I'm Denise Jermaine. Nice to meet you. Yeah,
Oh,
Q,
nice to
you're
meet you.
frozen right now. Okay, now you just you might want to hop out and hop back in.
Yeah, Mr.
Uh,
Robotic Man.
Jermaine, what did I miss?
So okay,
I
so
don't know. I
Okay, you
just
I'm
said
came in.
afraid that if
I
I don't, hopefully if I restart my computer, it don't cut everything out.
hopefully.
yeah, I just
Um,
came in myself. So
Okay,
okay.
I'm gonna
So
try to restart
okay, we'll see what happens. If it cuts off, then we'll just have to figure this out.
Okay, well you keep going, Denise. I'm
Okay. Um, so for those who are just tuning in, we're actually talking about finding yourself and finding your voice. Um, Nikki quite literally lost her voice over the weekend. And so when we were chatting today, we were like, okay, what do we want to talk about? And I was like, oh, what if we were talking about figuratively, like how you find yourself, how you find your voice? And so that's what we kind of wanted to get into. And if it was up to me, I would say the first place to find your voice or find yourself is like self acceptance, and deeper than self acceptance, I would say self love, because when you can love yourself, I feel like you can fully and completely be yourself when you actually love yourself. And to love yourself means to like actually spend time with yourself, know who you are. Like Q was saying, know the things that you like, know what your stances are. And I think the only way to really truly know that is to, it's like a self love journey, I would say. What do you think, Jermaine? Like, have you always felt, or maybe I'll do this. Let's rate it. Q, I have a rating I want to do. So from 1 to 10, how much do you think that you're yourself? 10 being
9.
the most yourself and 1 being the least yourself.
Where
I
I'm
say
at
9.
now, I say 9.
9? Q, you said 9?
Yeah.
I think I'm at like a 6 or 7.
Okay. You got ways to go.
I got
Yeah,
a way to go.
we done some work over here. We done got to a place to where we're more like looking at life at a total different spectrum.
Yeah.
You
I'll
could be
ask,
mad. It's just a matter of perspective.
how did you get there? How did you get to 9? Tell us, this is a how-to. How did you get to 9?
Who, me or
Whoever feels like talking.
No, you keep going, Jermaine. I'm still trying to figure this out.
oh, okay. Well, the way I got to 9 is I had to change my mindset.
What was your mindset and what did you change it to?
My mindset was more streetish, in the
Mm-hmm.
streets and stuff like that. And once I start looking at myself from a different spectrum of who I really was, I had to unlearn a lot of things that kept me stagnant.
Yeah. What did that process look like? Were you reading? Were you watching videos? Like
It
what
was therapy, spiritual therapy,
mm-hmm.
uh, I cut out rap, hardcore. I cut out just a lot of things that I felt that was negative towards my mindset. That's my
Mm,
journey. It's not everybody else's journey, but for me, I know what I had to do to get on another level to where I thought differently.
yeah. Interesting. I like that. Q, did you have anything that you've done to like are you ready or do you want to pass for now? I know you're trying to multitask.
Uh, ask me again real quick.
How did you get to 9 in terms of you feeling like yourself?
So okay, so my 9 is just about my comfortability in my own skin and
Right.
how free do I feel about the movements that I make and the things that I say.
Yeah.
As far as being comfortable with my voice, being comfortable with my opinions. Oh well, I mean, I guess if you want to get to it, Free Thinkers plays a big role in helping me find my voice.
Mm,
Um, Between Free Thinkers and just being okay with not knowing everything or not knowing anything.
ah. Okay.
I'm completely comfortable with
Ooh.
saying I don't know, with saying you know what, this information or this thing is above my head right now, and just asking questions and actually being a student in areas that I'm not familiar with.
So would you say that you're in general comfortable with the unknown? Like you don't need to know what the future holds. Are you comfortable like being
Right,
like I really don't?
absolutely.
Okay.
Because nobody knows.
Yeah,
That's
nobody
true.
knows
Everything is
that.
opinion, everything. Now you can come up with more educated opinions based off of personal experiences and things that you've studied, but you still don't know.
That's so true. So Nikki, we're asking from a scale of 1 to 10, um, how close do you feel like you are to yourself, like being yourself,
To being myself or knowing myself?
being yourself? Like you're
Oh, I
like this is like I am completely comfortable being this person.
on a scale of 1 to 10,
What was that?
a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely a 10. I'm very happy with this. I know we probably said this at 100%. Just very much. Just about
You
that.
sound you're kind of breaking up. Is Nikki breaking up for anybody else?
Yeah, she breaking up.
Okay, yeah,
Uh-oh.
Nikki, you sound kind of muffled and you sound like you're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Hold on.
Um, while we're waiting on Nikki, I'm gonna say the reason why I say I'm a 6 because I feel like I am always constantly in this battle of who I am and how I think I'm being perceived. And I think it's a childhood thing, because I would just hear a lot like, it's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. And so I feel like because of that, I have filtered myself so much to the perception of what I feel like would be comfortable for other people, even though like my intent is good or my intent was good when I was younger. It still was like rubbing how I was saying things was like rubbing people the wrong way. And I think it just caused me to put a lot of filters on. And I'm starting to take those filters off, but they're still there. And I know they're still there, but I'm finally like getting to the place in my life where I don't like it. I like really don't like all these filters I put on myself, and I feel like it's um stifling me and my growth and who I have the capability to be, because I'm not fully acting in my full self as I would like to. And so like one of my goals for this year is to like just fully be me, and like if people like it, cool, and if they don't like it, cool. So that's why I give myself a 6, because I ain't there yet. I am not there yet.
Well, you can't base your life on everybody else's opinion. You got to base it off the opinion that you need for yourself.
That's true.
So, Denise, what will be the next step? What do you think will be the next step for you?
Oh, the next step I think would be to do what I want to do, even when it makes me uncomfortable. Like pushing past the uncomfortability of a thing and doing it anyways because it's what I want to do, and not taking into consideration what I think people think. Just go, hey, what do you think, Denise? Okay, you want to wear this dress? You want to do your hair like this? That's what you're going to do. It doesn't matter if you're going to be the most dressed up person there. Because
Right.
guess what? That's what you want to do. Don't acquiesce to the places that you're at. Like, I felt like even style wise, sometimes I might be like, oh, this is this kind of vibe, so I'm gonna wear this. This is that kind of vibe, so I'm gonna wear that. I think there's like levels to that. But then I'm just like, but how far is that gonna go? I want to show up as me in every space that I'm in at all times. And I think that's just gonna really require me to just be like, you know what? This makes me very uncomfortable, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
So one of the things that I also discovered is I had to learn that it was okay to have a line. And what I mean by that is there's certain things that maybe I would say, or there's certain ways that I would dress, or certain places that I would go, but I myself don't do it because I am mindful of the other people that I represent. I'm mindful of my tribe, and that's okay too. It's a line that I've chose to be comfortable with, even though, yeah, if I was solely responsible for myself, then I might wild out in different ways that I don't now. But I don't, because I am conscious of other people that I represent, and even with that, I'm okay with it. So even with, you don't always want to. You have to be okay with the things that even you give yourself restraints on.
Mm.
Yeah.
How do you decide where this line will be? Because it's still like you deciding not to do something based on the opinions of others. Like, how do you decide
Ooh,
when the
it's a
line
good
is
question.
too far off to the other side?
When you no longer feel like yourself, when you feel like you're trying to impersonate someone else in your own body. I've gotten to the place where okay, so I guess if there's anything that I've been saying for the last maybe last 2 years, I'm kind of done with the yes or no, black or white stuff. I am a great person, and everything is done on a spectrum and in levels. So even when you talk about how much you know yourself, and like, there's levels to it.
That's true. That's true.
And it's, you know, it's not 100% or 0. There's levels to it. But you have to find the level that you're comfortable with, because even like, I'm kind of leery of people who think that they're 100% anything. Like, is there room
Don't
for
be
growth?
that.
Do you feel that there is a next level for you to get to? Or like, you know, you got to be I'm comfortable with knowing that there's always going to be another level or next level. But I think part of your voice is, I guess the way I was saying it before y'all came on here is feeling like in your present state you are where you're supposed to be, mind, body, and soul.
Well, I definitely feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, but I feel like there's another level to unlock. Like,
so hold on, okay, so is there any anxiousness about about your future or where you're trying to get to?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the part you gotta kind of balance a little bit.
Tell me
what
made you ask that question in this context?
Because a lot of people who are not comfortable with their alignment in the world right now, it's hard for you to feel one with yourself or to know who you are when you don't feel like you're where you're supposed to be.
Interesting.
If you feel like I should have.
Oh, I see what you're like, kind of like regretful and like like I don't know. I guess I just don't think like that.
Right. I should have did this in school. I should have been there. I should have married this person. I should, like, all the time you're thinking that you should be either somewhere else or further along in your life, then you're never going to be settled in your present.
I have moments like that, but typically my mind doesn't rest in that state. I do have my moments where I'm like, oh, can we get to the part where X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean? But I also can recognize by looking back on things, hindsight, being like, yeah, no. See, that would have been short-lived if you would have been doing this at 27. Like, it would have completely crumbled. You would have known what to do. You were not mature enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all of these things that I know are facts about if I would have had the level of success or been in a place that I wanted to be at an earlier age where I thought that's what I should be at that age. Absolutely not. I would have destroyed it. I would have destroyed everything I got.
If somebody else could touch on that, but I have a question if nobody else has anything to add on that part right there.
What was say your question again, Denise?
I think Q asked what was it? Are you comfortable where you are right now? What was the question, Q?
Oh yeah, that was kind of a side question to your question, but yeah, I guess my definition of finding yourself and finding your or more so finding yourself is being in alignment with where you are right now in the present, and not feeling that you should be somewhere else or somewhere further, like in a different state.
So you had made the comment, and bear with me, my voice is in and out, so it might not be my stream, it might literally just be my sound in the microphone. So you had made the comment too that you are leery of people who feel like they're like operating at, let's say, 100%. That does that not leave room for more growth? And I think that even when you are operating, let's say 98 to 100% truth, if you say that you operated in 100%, day is still a day to grow.
Right.
That doesn't mean that I'm not doing anything in my purest form or representing who I am, not wholly, but I can always be better tomorrow than I was today.
For sure.
But I you know, so when we when we had threw the idea around about or when Denise took a thought and turned it into a whole song real quick in a matter of like 14 seconds. I thought about it, you know, and my thought was, you know, the journey of finding self, the journey of finding your voice. So are we kind of still there in that space where we're exploring? Because I'm sorry I was late, but are we still exploring like just the beginning part of the journey, or just where we are right now in the journey? Because I think finding your voice obviously is a journey, right? Like
Yeah.
being self
Yeah.
is a but so to kind of answer your question before I had to log out for a sec, like I do feel like I thought about this. I'm like, where do I feel like I am on my own personal scale of where I am on this journey? And I know what brought me to this journey. I know what sustains me on this journey. But I was like, I think I'm finally at a place in my life where I am exactly who I am. And this is who I've always been. And I think about all the time, I'm 46. I think about all the time I come across people from middle school and high school who say to me, oh, you haven't changed at all. I'm like, is that a bad thing? But it's not when it's my character that they're talking about. That's who I've always been.
Oh, so that was a question I was about to ask you. Nikki, when do you feel like you got to a 10? Do you feel like you've been at a 10 since high school, or do you feel that
Definitely. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I probably didn't get to my 10 place until maybe the last couple years. Maybe the last couple years. And maybe less than the last couple years. But more so recently, where I've had to really step out on self and rely on nobody but self and this motherfucker to make shit happen, to realize that, bitch, you're bad. You are a bad motherfucker. You are a bad motherfucker. And it's not until you really accomplish those feelings for yourself. Everybody might not need that.
Right.
I did. I needed that. I needed that because I didn't live in my truth. I don't think nowhere near a 10 before I realized that I got this. Maybe not in the way in which I want, but I do. And that doesn't mean that I don't have more journey to go. I'm just barely in the beginning of this journey. Barely in the beginning. I anticipate highs and lows on this journey. But staying true to who I am and who I know me to be and who I knew I was in middle school and who I was in high school and this goofy ass fucking girl that either you liked or you did not like at all. Like you have to learn a lot about yourself to then realize who everybody else is too.
that is true. That's
To
good.
know how you're gonna deal with those people in your space. Cause it's real easy for somebody I love to fuck me up. Oh God. So bad. But I can't wear that anymore. I have to do what works for me. I have to, like when I hashtag I love myself or love self, I said it forever and I did love myself, but obviously I was doing some shit that was not love of self behavior. I wasn't living in my fucking truth.
Well, I got a question. Have you ever, any of us ever thought about, have we ever forgave our younger self to get to where we are now?
That's good.
I mean, I feel like if you need to forgive younger self, then you should forgive younger self. If you can extend grace to other people, then you damn sure got to extend it to yourself, or you're really not doing any good.
Oh, okay. So, let's. I guess to go deeper into that question, and this is for anybody. What did you need to forgive your younger self for?
I would like to make it easy and say I had to forgive myself for making bad decisions, or maybe not the best decision. Maybe not bad decisions, but maybe not the best, the most optimum decisions. I had to realize that even though I may have made some decisions that were not the most optimum decisions when it came to love, I did it out of love. So I had to learn what the fuck love looked like, really, really and truly. So I don't even want to say I regret decisions in love that caused me pain that I've had to grow from, because I'm okay with the journey.
We already had you don't have any regrets. We had that conversation.
I don't.
It's a matter of perspective. That's fine. It's fine.
That's it.
I would say I had to forgive myself for my anger issues. And it's not so much my anger, but it's the results that came from my anger. The way I treated certain people because of unstable emotions and being unforgiving in a lot of situations. My younger self, I was very unforgiving. And what else I had to forgive? I had to forgive myself for those are the main things. I'm trying to think what else that I really had to forgive myself for. I had to forgive myself for a lot of self-doubt, doubting myself, a lot of insecurity. And those things play a role as far as where you are today.
Right.
Is there truth that maybe I may be in a different space if I knew who I was at an earlier age? Yes, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, but I would be I'll probably be in a different space. But like I said, I feel that I'm where I'm supposed to be right now, and I had to do the only way I could be comfortable where I am right now is forgiving myself for what I felt that I should have done earlier.
Q, did
Thank-
that process for you, Q, did that, like the forgiveness of self, let's say for anger, and I appreciate you so fucking much for saying that, because I dealt with a very angry person today who anger has been the vein from in which all bad things have happened in their life, man, and they just keep hanging on to it. So I appreciate you so much for saying that, my God. But did that come with, like, for you, did you feel like, or did you need to make amends to, let's say, certain people because of certain situations, or was that just something that you felt like for self, like I gotta forgive myself, like I've been forgiven, I've apologized, whatever already, this is just me between me? Or did part of that for you also include like making amends with people?
So for some people, their anger and unforgiveness stems from a self-hatred and them not forgiving themselves. Now you have other people, they forgive themselves for everything that they do, but don't forgive others. And then you have a third version who's very forgiving to other people, but they don't forgive themselves. Like they're harder on themselves and they don't extend the same grace to themselves that they do to other people. So it's kind of three different veins in there. And for me, I didn't know it, but I was holding on to a lot of anger and unforgiveness because it was more internal things that I was upset about myself and I didn't forgive myself for. So that was just what was oozing out of me based off of how I treated myself.
Right.
And once I learned how to treat myself right, then I also, it was easy to extend that grace to other people as well.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that.
That's a very good point. That's a very, very good point right there you just made. Because I had to forgive myself for the stuff that I know actually happened to me, but I held it in so long, and everybody else caught the tailwind of my anger. They never knew dealing with certain people. I held on to that.
Oh, yeah, I heard it too, but my computer, I thought that
Can
was
y'all hear
just
me?
me.
Oh, I'm breaking up.
Can you?
Think
All
you're
right,
back.
I think you're clear. You're clear now.
Yeah, I'm driving. I'm going in and out of one bar, two bars. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good to go.
Okay. Because I know we all start off, as youngsters. We got the world ahead of us. We come in this world and that's who we really are. When we first come in the world. But between that time and the time that you get to an adult stage, there's a lot of trauma, a lot of things that happen to you, and we're a product of the things in the middle. And I had to go back, and the people that did harm me and the people who did, I had to go and forgive them. Then I had to forgive myself because I can't beat myself up over anything that I held over their head. So I had to come to reality, man. Once you let those things go, how peaceful your life will be. And that's the things that I had to do for myself.
Forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself is like a part of you finding yourself,
Yes.
by actually acknowledging yourself to yourself. Um, hmm.
I just want to say it's so interesting to me too how we as adults can sometimes look back on, let's say, childhood traumas of a variety of sorts, and how we even as children somehow internalize those to own some of the trauma that was done to us, that we find ourselves later having to fucking forgive ourselves for something that we didn't even have nothing to do with. We was just there. And how many people have been affected by holding that shit in, have been affected by, holding on to that. And how many people that's affected in their life because hanging on to that shit, So it's interesting talking about forgiveness, because I'm one of those people who I kind of struggle with the word forgiveness, only because I don't think that you have to forgive somebody or something to move forward. I do think that there's a difference in holding grudges and like being resentful and growing resentments and things like that. That's hella unproductive. But I think that once you make peace with something, I'm okay with it, as long as the peace has been resolved within me. Unfortunately, that's all that matters. I would like to be able to extend that to the next person, but I can't make that person receive the same peace that I feel, because I know the process of which they got to go through it to feel it. But I think that you do have to make peace with things before you're able to really move forward. Some shit, otherwise we know it's going to stay in the background in the shadows forever.
Well, that's how you get your peace. You forgive yourself, because it's not for them; it's for you.
That's what they
And
say.
once and once you,
I guess it depends on
find
who
the
you are.
peace- Yeah,
Because for
I
me
mean-
and my anger issues, it's necessary. Trust me. It's
For real.
absolutely necessary. Because I would hold on to a grudge till the end of time.
Oh man, not me.
I was woo.
Yeah.
And it was
I mean-
hate on sight.
You're kind of low, Q. Turn your mic up, then.
I know he said he said it was hate on sight.
Yeah, it was. How about now?
There we go.
Yeah. No, I mean it was. And you know what? I'm not one of those people. And I'm not one of those people. Well, back in the day, I used to know. I love the fact that even if I express something like this, people be like, "Oh, really? I never would have known that about you." Good. I don't want you to see that side of me. I want you to see a different.
Before you said this, I'm thinking I don't know you to be an angry person.
Right, and I love that. and my goal is that you never see that. That side will never come out of me again.
I think I was opposite of him. I'll forgive you quick, but it's on site. I don't care what we finna get this over with. And I'm gonna check you. It's on site. We finna do this, and then after we do what we gotta do, I'll forgive you and walk away. So keep the anger out.
Yeah, that would have been better for me. Let me ask this. Okay, so I want to transition for a second off of the finding yourself and focus more on the finding your voice. Nikki, have you always had your voice? The voice that you have now, is this the same voice that you had 15 years ago?
Is it the same voice? Yes. Yes. She's just a lot louder today. She's a lot louder.
Good.
She's a lot more confident in what she says.
Right.
I trust me. I trust me today.
Right.
I trust me and I like me. Even if you don't, that's okay. I do. Like, now if you would have said, 25 years ago, I think that my voice contributed to a lot of my relationship problems. So I never changed my voice. And we're not talking about the audio, right? Like I never changed my voice.
No, I am talking about the audio. So when I say your voice, the golly, how do I say this? The alignment of your heart, and your emotions, aligning with the verbal expression of what you're feeling inside.
Yes.
That's
So
what
when
I'm
I
talking about.
so yeah, so when I said the audio, I'm I'm not saying like, oh, I didn't used to talk and now I talk. No, I've always talked. I've always been a talker.
Right.
I think that there were just situations in my life where I was afraid to
Right.
be able to speak in my truth because the people that were in my life didn't agree, didn't like it, didn't make them feel
Right.
good. Today, I know how to still do that, but do it in a way where hopefully that type of dynamic is not received from another person. I can't control how a person receives it, but I know if I'm cautious with how I send the message,
Right.
hopefully it'll be received closer to what my intention was, right? So and I think that that's also been part of this journey for me is aligning as an adult today with who I think I've always been. It
Right.
just wasn't necessarily allowed the space to grow until I became an absolutely 100% single person on my own, and just was given the terrarium, the environment
Right.
to be able to water myself every day.
Ooh, I got some thoughts on that. Okay. Denise, your voice now versus your voice 15 years ago.
Y'all, okay, I'm trying to answer the question, but I just realized how frustrated I am. I realized that like anytime I have said something that's like rubbed somebody the wrong way, it was always the truth. And it's made me like bridle my tongue and not speak the truth. And it actually just kind of made me sick to my stomach just now, thinking about how much I have to mute myself from honesty, not nastiness,
Okay.
but honesty. That I feel like, oh, if I say this thing, I won't be able to be in a relationship with this person or that person or that person. And it just made me realize how much people are unable to tell the truth without being attacked. And you got to be strong as fuck to be like, I'm going to say this, and this person might stop talking to me. This person may not want to be my friend anymore. This may change the dynamics that we have because I'm about to say something that is the truth, that not only is the truth, is something they probably need to hear right now that no one else is going to say. And I have to toss up between, hey, I care about you, I need to say this, and our relationship. And so it's frustrating me just thinking about it. But like, I feel like about 15 years ago or more, probably may have been around the time I started locking it down even more and not saying things and being quiet and seeing how when people speak up and say things, they get attacked. And like, I'm like, do I want to get attacked? Should I be quiet? You know, I'm trying to be a public figure one day. Maybe I just need to shut the fuck up. And even every day, every week when we do Free Thinkers, I have to think about the fact that I'm like, this is a place where I feel free. At any point, if I became a public figure, people could just run through Free Thinkers and just pull all kinds of shit I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I feel like that's gonna happen to me one day.
And I'm just sitting here like,
they're gonna pick me.
Let's go.
But I'm just sitting here like, I can't be free to express myself, you know, and I'm just like, but in Free Thinkers, because the honesty is so real, when I'm around y'all, I feel like I gotta be true to myself.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have to say how I feel. You know what I mean? Like I feel safe to do it, but I want to get to a space where I don't need to feel safe, that I'm going to do it. And that's where I want to go. But to answer your question, I feel like it's been about the same, and I'm slowly coming out of that kind of like filter that I put on myself probably about 15 years ago. But yeah.
So, let me ask you. Is it do you question telling the truth, or do you question the delivery and how you give it, or do you just question the recipient of it? Like there can be different things like
it's more recipient interpretation. and my delivery. Because
Right.
sometimes I can just be like, I don't want to cut corners. I just want to say what needs to be like. Why are we going around the block taking a scenic route? Can I just say what it is right now? Can I just say it's this versus being like,
Do you
well, you
feel like you're
know,
cheating
I
yourself if
was
you ever?
thinking.
Do you feel like you're cheating yourself if you soften your delivery?
I think a soft delivery can be bullshit. Sometimes a soft delivery requires more words. You know,
That's not a bad thing.
no, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
When you're
Okay.
dealing with someone who's in denial, when you're dealing with someone who's not really trying to accept what is, and you start doing all that soft delivery shit on them, and they still ain't getting it, and you've been telling them, hey, have you ever
Ooh.
considered, have you ever thought about, is it possible that maybe, and then you just got to say to them, hey, you told me you didn't like this shit. Why are you still doing it? It doesn't make sense. Why you keep going back to this thing that you claim you don't like, but you say you want this thing? I don't understand. Now that
So
might hurt your feelings, but you know what I'm telling you. You ain't gotta question or think hard about it. You know, I just let you know what it is, and we both know it's the truth. And you maybe don't want to accept it right now, but I'm tired of talking about it.
let me say this. Part of the voice that I found is knowing the worth of my voice and having complete autonomy over my voice, which also means I'm also free to not say anything to you. If I don't feel that you warrant my words, if I don't feel that you've taken the time to develop enough maturity to receive my words, I have no problem not saying anything. Well, what you thinking, Hugh? Nothing. No, you thinking something? No, I ain't. Nothing that I'm willing to share with you because you have not earned the maturity to receive my words. That was another step in my voice as well that I learned.
I like that because you know what, Q? That's perspective. Because I do the same thing, but my perspective is I'm holding my tongue and I'm not being completely myself. Your perspective is, oh, I'm assessing the situation. I know you ain't ready. I'm not giving pearls to the swine.
That's
I'm
exactly
moving
what I was
around.
thinking. Casting my pearls before swine. Like,
do your thing.
you comfortable eating slop. You won't. If I'm giving you gems, you won't even know. You won't even know that I'm giving you something special. So I don't have to give it to you. That
like
is
that.
a waste of my
Perspective
words
change.
when I know it's gonna fall. If I feel that it falls on dead ground.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
So yeah, that's a big part of my voice. That of me finding my voice.
Oh, that's good.
Nikki, you want to jump in?
No.
Jermaine, what you thinking?
Well, I mean, I know I used
Hold
to
on,
be
let me back up for a
whatever
second. Jermaine, let me back up a second. Your voice now versus your voice 15 years ago. What's changed?
Well, I know whatever came to my mind, I said it. I don't
15 years
care
ago?
how you felt about it. Yes,
Mhm.
my mouth was reckless. I think you know, my mouth was reckless. You know, I said whatever I felt the way I wanted to say it, and didn't care how you felt about it. But as I've gotten older, I've toned down the words. I took the cussing out, and I start speaking. Because once you speak into a person's life, or you speak to them, they receive it a little different than when you come and cussing, raging, hollering, loud with them. So
Ooh.
do it more intensity as like I don't know if it's like the man that's in me that ministers to people now, or I had to learn that the reaction that you get from people is what you push out. And so I had to learn how to really have a conversation, and not a fussation or talk crazy or doing those things So I had to sit there and I speak low, straightforward. They'll hear you more, and I had to learn that they'll hear you more when you speak to them and not at them.
Yeah.
I wanted to add something else in there too, because when I guess maybe when it deals with something relationally that affects you, I think you have more of a right to show passion and emotion. Sometimes people will disguise something like I'm trying to help the other person. But if you try, if I'm trying to help you, why am I so upset about another person's behavior? It sounds like it's more about like if Nikki just came at me like, well, Q, how come you ain't doing this? You said you was gonna do this for yourself and you doing this for yourself. I'm just trying to help you, but it's like, are you really doing this for my benefit, or you just doing this because it's irritating you that I'm not doing something? Like a lot of emotion make it seem it's like, I think this is more about you than it is me. You keep saying it like you're trying to help me, but I think it's really more of just an irritant of you. And when you have a lot of emotion in something, then it comes off that way. Now, if something relationally that's affecting both of us, then yeah, of course, yeah, I can be like, yeah, I'm pissed off because this is messing with me or messing with my money or messing with my relationships or whatever. But if I'm just saying, well, Nikki, you said you was gonna clean them houses 5 days a week and you ain't on your stuff and you ain't doing this, and I'm like, why are you so upset about my life and the way that I'm doing stuff?
Oh,
I think you just irritated. You know,
because don't
it's
come to
different.
me. Don't come to me telling me X, Y, and Z, talking my ear off about all this stuff for hours and hours, carrying on with me, and I care about you.
Right.
But you're not doing it. Like, stop talking to me about it. Like, this is for your own benefit. This is for your
So
own
that
good.
irritates
You're
you,
doing
Denise?
stuff. Yes, you're doing stuff that's not for your own good. Now I'm concerned. You got me up concerned and stuff because you ain't doing what you're supposed to do.
Why you let that? In a romantic relationship, I get that. Anything outside, because if a romantic relationship, what they do also affects you in the trajectory of your life moving forward together. But anything outside of that, I'm like, okay, well, I guess they're still figuring it out.
Q,
When they do stuff that's
Q,
going to be helpful to them.
Q. You know, another thing I've learned too with that conversation with them is the way you approach them. Do you think people will move faster when you voice your voice is really loud and coming at them, or will they respect your
No.
authority when you just talk to them? You think they'll move
And
a little
see, oh,
faster?
okay. Jermaine, hold on. Let me back. I gotta back up because it reminded me of the point that I wanted to address to Denise. Because Denise was like, you know, I'm telling you the truth about something that you in denial about, and you were saying, I'm like, oh, you answered your question right there. You're already acknowledging that they're in denial about it. So if they're in denial about it, how do you think you giving them the raw truth or setting them straight is actually going to penetrate? That's the definition of being in denial. That truth is going to go right past them, over the head, or whatever the case is. If you know they're in denial, then why?
I noticed that being very blunt with a person in denial penetrates that. Not always, but it can penetrate
It's
when
possible.
you disrupt that comfort they have and the lies they've been telling themselves, and you disrupt that comfort with hard truth. They will get mad at you, but
Okay,
they
hey,
come back a
Denise.
couple of days later and they're like,
Okay, but Denise, let me ask you this. and I'm gonna ask the question and I'm gonna follow up a little bit. The question is it more about them or is it more about you? And what I mean by that is, if it's more about them, see, I have several close friends, and the way I communicate with all of them differently, because if my goal is to actually help them and help, you know, penetrate maybe a block or a gap in vision, I gotta make sure that I'm speaking on their level in a way that they can receive it. So for instance, Nikki knows Prince, best friend. We don't pull no punches at all. straight raw truth, no chaser, no nothing. And it'll be like, ouch, you right, thank you, I appreciate it. Now, Blue, I got to take a different route with him.
Right.
If I use the same approach with Blue that I do with Thomas, me and Blue ain't gonna be friends no more.
I can see that.
And that's my friend Chop. He kind of somewhere in the middle between both of them. He can be kind of sensitive. He can take, you can give it to him straight. He's not gonna get hurt or sensitive, but he may not receive it the same way. So you got to kind of just have a conversation. You just got to throw the truth in a open conversation with him for it to get somewhere. So anyway, my point is, if the goal is if the goal is for my truth to be properly received to help that person, I got to know the person that I'm dealing with too. And if all I do is just deliver the truth the same way because this is how I got to deliver it, and if I don't give it to him raw the way it come to me, then I'm not being real with myself. Okay, is this about me or is it about us?
So I never come out the gate firing. Never. I always, because of the filter, I always start with the filter first. I always like, let me ease it. I know people, don't want that raw and cut. Let me ease in. When I start to notice that it is becoming a real problem in your life to a detriment, that's when I hit you with that uncut. Because I've been telling you.
Friendships or relationships?
Friendships.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you get hit with the uncut because this is to your detriment now. And this is what you're telling me your goal is. And as your friend, I want to help you achieve that. And the way we've been having this conversation, we in a loop. We got to get out the loop because you need to make some movement on this.
We ain't got the.
And as your friend that loves you, you about to get hit with the flex. You about to get hit with the truth serum. And I hope we can remain friends after this. I'm gonna follow up with, I mean this out of love. I mean this with love. I'm saying this because I care about you. But X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z.
And I was
I'm sorry.
like that. I was definitely like that at one point in time. I was. And you know who got it the worst for me? I think maybe I learned the most. My sister Ivory. I used to just straight for the gut every single time. And she wasn't that type of person. So a lot now she remembered, and some of the stuff I did helped her, but I think it was damaging at the same time too. Just the way, and that's one of those things I wish I would have dealt with her differently growing up. And even in our young adult years, I wish I would have dealt with her differently than I did.
Yeah, I think I could have dealt with my sister a little different too. My sister hardcore. She plays no games. But we in our older age, we have conversations a little bit better now. I mean, that's with everybody now, because you got to know who you talking to.
Right.
And you got to know how they respond and how do they take things. Are they sensitive? Are they extra emotional? You got to really know who you're talking to. Like me and Q can have about 50 disagreements, but we already know who we are. We got two different perspectives and all that. That's how we are.
We started in the mud. Let me tell y'all something. Free thinkers meeting of the minds. There's very few conversations that we had. So where I met Jermaine, y'all remember I was lab rat. I met Jermaine. We were doing it was like a 45-day study. We were in for a month and a half. You talking about the most heated conversations and it ain't no time, it ain't like, oh, no 2 hours. No, we going 9-10 hours. Sun down, just going at it.
45 days, no phone, no.
I mean, them was some of the craziest conversations that you ever.
That's funny.
They went for a long. I'll never forget that. Like we had some. You talk about deep. We had some long, deep conversations. So. Anyway, Jermaine, I'll throw that in there. Go ahead.
No, you good. You keep telling it, man.
I can't even
Cause
get
I
into it. It was
remember.
you talking about religion and about politics and God and all of that. Oh man, we went all the way there. We ain't had nothing else to do.
Next question.
we had nothing else to do but just talk the whole day. It was a couple days we went like 10 hours straight.
Yeah.
Question. Do you think you've had to find your voice in different aspects or areas of your life? Do you ever feel like, hey, I really felt strong in my voice in relationships, but maybe at work I do not? Like, and what advice would you give people who are like strong in one area, but are like struggling, like for instance, at work? Maybe they don't know how to convey whatever it is or express whatever their needs are there. What would you tell that person in that situation?
Who's she
Workplace is-
asking? Me or you?
You
Everybody.
go ahead, Jermaine. Go ahead. I'll follow up after you. Go ahead.
I think you have to really um, search inside of you and see where your strongest suit is. And once you find out where your strongest suit is, and you look at if you're strong in a relationship and conversations with that, I think you ought to look at how you present yourself in that. And then when you have a different conversation with somebody else, develop a different probably approach, but use some of the stuff that you may use in a relationship that not saying you're in a relationship with this person, but notice how you talk, your tone, how you come forth. Use that as well to get your points, across to this other person or business partner. Okay, it's still a relationship, but you gotta
Mhm.
tweak the words a little bit and know how to come forth with that person. I mean, it's just so many arenas that we're in that you just have to be a settled person. Like you look at Q, how he talk. He can talk in any spectrum that you bring forth towards him. It's called practice. It's things that
Oh
you
yeah.
have to do over and over and over. Because you get into the heated ones and you get into the ones that are low.
We
You
have to
gotta
break it
know
up,
how to
Jermaine.
talk. You gotta be a
It's
people's
breaking up a little
person.
bit.
If you're not a people's person, oh my bad, I'm breaking up.
Yeah, a little bit. You
Yeah,
breaking up
you're
some.
breaking up,
And I'm
Jermaine.
not a people's.
But
I'm not a people's
I
person
feel what you're
at
saying
all.
though.
But let me say
Right.
something real quick though. It's when it comes to the workplace, I do not include that in any. I do not suggest people keep it real or try to find a voice in the work. You finding your voice, but you doing it in a totally different way that you do in any other arena. How I use my voice in the workplace is not how I use it in relationships and friendships or even just in social settings. The workplace, you
Here.
have to be shrewd. You got to be shrewd. You got to be very calculated. You got to, depending on where you are at, especially in different aspects of the corporate world, you got to like no, I'm not keeping it real. I ain't keeping it buck. I ain't keeping it hunt. I'm gonna show you what I want you to see. I'm gonna say certain things that everything I'm doing is positioning. I want to make sure that you see me in the light that I want you to see me in. I'm not giving you ain't getting no raw truth from me. You ain't getting nothing from me. You getting only what I want to and what's gonna benefit business. That's it. Like the no, anything that we talking about, do not apply that to the corporate world. That's my advice. That's two totally different things. But dang, what was your question, Denise? I just had to
Is there basically you answered it, which was like if someone may be strong in one area or weak in another, for example, like in work, they need to find their voice in work. What are some things like advice that you would give them? And what you're saying is kind of play everything close to the
yeah,
chest.
just stay out of that. You see, for me, relationally, I'm not as strong. My voice is not as strong relationally. I would say I'm maybe more like a 7.5 or 8 relationally. I think my strongest suit is friendship, family and friendship. I'm very 9.75ish relationally, my voice isn't as strong. I'm just not. There's certain things that I think, and there's different uncertainties that I have as far as expressing myself relationally sometimes.
Why? You don't mind me asking.
Good. That's a good question. The ripple effects are different in relationships than they are. If you make a wrong step, there could be longer lasting consequences for you saying the wrong thing or you expressing something that maybe that person wasn't ready for you to express, or if you hurt someone's feelings and it does something to their self-esteem, there's longer lasting ripple effects with that.
Yes, it is.
Just in other areas. Right. So it's
got this book by T.D. Jakes, Emotions.
Oh, I got that book.
Okay, so remember when you told me I needed to watch the sermon?
Yes.
So I watched it again.
Mm-hmm.
Obvious, for very obvious reasons. But and so for context for people who are watching, Emotions is basically the sermon where T.D. Jakes is explaining the mentality and the psychology of a man when in all states, but typically when he's going through something, and what that man, boy, needs, how he behaves, what is his demeanor, and like all these things, so that you either it's like for him to understand himself and go through that process in a more healthier way, and then two, for women to understand the needs of a man so that they can properly be there for him in those times. And I feel like that is a place where maybe I struggle a bit, because I think that, sometimes when a man is going through it, he does not need your solutions. I don't think a man wants your solutions. In fact, if he's talking, you probably just need to listen to him talk, because if he's even talking about it, thank God he's being open and honest about how he feels. But if you come in like, well, just do this, just I don't know what it does to the man's mental state. I don't know if it makes him feel like you're his mom. I don't know. But like, I'm realizing that I need to know how to like take a step back and just let a man vent when he needs to vent, and just let him go.
And if you feel that maybe they do want some type of input, it's not a let me tell you what you need to do. That's interesting. What do you think about X, Y, and Z? Just propose it as a question. What do you think about, if they dealing with something on the job? What do you think? Have you ever thought about applying for that promotion? Okay, just wondering. And that's it. Just leave it. And the question itself gives your vote of confidence. And okay, look, hey, babe, I know you smart. I know you got this. That's all I need. You ever thought, your boss getting on your nerve? You ever thought about, filling out for the next position? I mean, I know you're smart enough to do it, and I know you'll figure it out. So just let me know if you need anything. Boom.
I'm taking a vote of confidence to be like, I don't need to tell you what to do. I know you got it.
I know you got it.
Yeah, or a simple hug and tell you you're gonna be all right.
Yep.
Encourage him. Encourage the man. Encourage him to. You ain't gotta say too much. Just I love you. I know you got it. Encourage you. I know you can get it through.
So even when he's feeling like he don't got it, you just you just stroke that ego just subtle enough to like, either yes, I do got it, or you put good pressure on him, like, I don't feel it right now, but look, I got to figure this out. Because if my girl believed that I got this, then hey, I gotta make sure that
I got it.
Figure this out.
Good for
But
that.
either way,
Good
what
for
it
too.
does is it puts our mind and our body in motion to be solution oriented, regardless.
Because when you're proposing the question, then your brain, when a woman proposes the question to you, your brain is going for solutions because
Not just
she's
proposing
asked the question.
but also
Yeah.
making a statement. Hey, babe, look, I know you got whatever it is, you gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
You got it. The vote of confidence also gets my wheels moving. Be like, all right, it's people who
You-
believe in me. Let me live up to what they believe in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Q, I got a question for you. When we thinking, do you think that our minds are already like 3 steps ahead, already got 3 things in order what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it?
I don't think it's 3 steps ahead. I think it's 3 to 5 directions ahead.
Right.
So it's we have multiple avenues that we can go down. Now we're just examining what's the best avenue, what's the best path to take. In some cases, you do, and then once you think of those paths, then like you said, you play chess. Then now, what if I go down this road? What are the next 3 steps that's going after? If I go down this, if I go this direction, what is that? What are the other side? What's the next fork in the road if I go down this road? Like you're just trying to navigate. You're doing all of that in your head, which is a tough thing. Which and it's similar to a lot of single mothers experience the same thing. Like, and it's that weight, because if a misstep doesn't just affect me, it affects them also. It's a different type of weight when you got kids and you got a mortgage and you got your house and the car on the line and stuff. It's different. So single mothers, they felt that too. Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
For the men out there listening, what would you say are good approaches to how to speak to a woman who might be going through it? What do you think women need from their man's voice in that moment?
When who's going through it? The man or the woman? So the woman's going through it. Rephrase that to me one more time.
And a woman's going through it. She's talking to her man. What does she need from her man in that moment? How should he offer his voice to her in that moment?
So I think we all. I think that's a tough answer, because I can only answer how I would answer, right? Mm-hmm. Like the woman may answer totally separately. Like I mean, we're all that way, right? Some of us have, our meter stick, our ruler stick is further, right? Or it's really, really short. Like some of us, we respond differently. Me personally, the type of woman that I am, and I'm a very traditional woman. I'm an old school woman. I'm a gender roles kind of woman. So with that being said, for me, I need, when I'm going through some shit, I need my man to be there. I need him to be my spiritual support, my emotional support. He ain't got to do shit. He doesn't have to fix anything. I don't need him to necessarily fix something. However, if there's something that he sees that he can fix, I need him to do that. But ultimately, like, I just, just hold me up for a little bit. I used to always tell my ex, like, if I get a little too far out, just reel me back in. You know what I'm saying? Just reel me back in, just bring me back in, and I'll be all right. I don't go out too far, and I don't go out long. It's very rare that, I'm going to be in that state where I can't bring it back in myself. But for my partner, he has to take his lead. He has to take the lead. And he has to be able to emotionally, spiritually, be able to comfort whatever that situation is. He just does. And I say that because in return, like you had asked the question before, in return, I'm going to absolutely do everything within my power to create a safe space for him to be able to take care of his needs, whatever they are, whenever he's going through his moment, right? Because we do communicate differently. We do, respond to things differently. We do Men and women are different people. So we do handle things differently. The best thing I can do is, sure, maybe shut up. Absolutely. If I need to shut up, I'll shut up. You know, if this is not the time to talk, it's not the time to talk. I will listen, I will be quiet, and I will create a space. I have a space. I am the space that is safe for you to be able to vent, to unload, to have a fucked up day, to cry, to need to powwow, or to need to get some advice. To really need to iron sharpen iron. I need that to be my man. I need that in return. So that's just how I respond, right? The next woman may respond very differently, where she just needs space and just leave me alone to do whatever I need to do, to get through whatever I need to get through, and then I'll come back when I'm fixed. I don't operate like that. That's not for me. That's not for me. You know?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So if your man, if he comes to you, be in his safe space, and he open up to you,
Mm-hmm.
do you?
You sound kind of low, Jermaine.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, that's
Yes,
better.
Much better.
All right. So if he come to you and he open up to you, and like in a heated moment, do you throw everything back in his face that he opened up to you about?
Fuck no, you don't know me. Hello, I'm Nikki. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that is the most disrespectful. That is not love. If you have an intention to hurt your partner, that's not love. And throwing something back in their face is not fucking love. So don't tell me that you love me if you can't show me that you love me. That's not love. That's not okay. Absolutely not. I actually, because I treasure what people share with me, oh my God, that makes me want to throw up. I would never want to break that trust. You might break my trust with you, but I'm not finna break my trust. No,
Right.
never. No,
Right.
never.
Can I say this for the audience at home who might not know that they're throwing something in their partner's face, but in fact they are?
Oh,
Because
you know when you doing it, because
No,
they
you
do it with
don't.
intention. Yeah, they do, because
No,
people be
no,
trying
you
to hurt.
don't. Q, hear me out. Q, hear me out.
Okay.
If you're talking to your partner and your partner, you know, they're doing their behaviors are funny, and you're just like, see, remember when you said that your mom used to talk to you like this and how you didn't like that and how she used to curse you out? You see, when I try to talk to you normal, you don't respond well to that. And I have to curse you out. I don't want to have to do that. This
Got
is
to
the
curse
thing,
you
though.
out. Who you got to
No,
curse out? You ain't got to
Q,
curse out nobody.
no, hear me out, Q.
See, that's part of the
But
problem with the
hold
first
on.
Had to curse
You're
you
missing
now.
the point. You're missing the point. The point I'm making. The point I'm making. This is all me, y'all. I'm evolved. The point I'm making is that if you even mention something that someone told you, even if you're mentioning it because you're trying to bring an idea full circle, that makes them feel like you're throwing something in their face. So just don't do it.
Don't do it. That's correct.
It's how you use it. It's how you use it. In
No,
that
they don't like it at all.
particular context, I'd have felt some type of way too, because not only are you bringing up an unhappy memory, right? Which I've clearly not dealt with my motherfucking trauma with my mama, because I'm still behaving in a way in which I only respond to negative energy. So I treat you badly, so you have to cuss me out, which no, you don't. That is total choice. You do not have to cuss somebody out. I can look, if I can control my language, everybody can control their language. And in certain moments, you have to know when to turn it off and turn it on. I know that and we had this conversation a couple months ago, I know that there are certain scenarios, talking to children, talking to wounded women, talking to wounded men, talking to somebody who's suffering with addiction, talking to people with multiple personalities and mood disorders. You have to talk to certain people a certain way. So if I already know that you've entrusted me with something that's as fucking, huge as a childhood injury, because it is, whether it's a trauma, that could be up for debate, but it's an injury, right? Nobody wants to be talked to recklessly by the person that they say love them, even if it's their mom or they dad. Like, that's just not nice, but it happens. So if I've been entrusted with that person's injury, I have to, if I'm going to use it as a teaching tool, I'm going to have to figure out just how to be able to use it as a teaching tool without.
No.
I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. It doesn't.
Well, I'm
I
saying
said
you
it in
can
a
use
nice
the,
way, a sweet way. It just makes a person feel like you're throwing what they told you in their face, and they don't like it.
I agree, and it's not about a nice way or a sweet way, because that putting sugar on top of shit don't make it any less than shit. It's still shit. So it's not about saying it nicer and smiley, and no, it's still about finding how I'm going to use this to still make the point, and or deciding, is this the time to try to make a point? Is this a teaching opportunity, or am I just supposed to just, okay, let's address this when we have our logics back into, back where they need to be, because now we're reacting out of emotion, and emotion ain't gonna get us nowhere. It's not gonna get us nowhere. But no, generally, you gotta be careful with how you bring up things that people have mentioned to you, because don't think that I haven't had my share of therapeutic conversations where I had to bring some shit back in to use as an example. But it's all about who, what, when, where, why, and the intention behind it, in my opinion.
so what I'm saying, you can use that situation without mentioning the situation. The usefulness of it is the knowledge or them that shared it with you. So for instance, I have a friend who they cut off game was wicked for everything. I'm like, dang, this and this. But come to find out later on through relationship talking, they had they were kind of orphaned by their parent. So they were first child. Their parent pretty much let them go. They lived with their grandmother, didn't have much of a relationship with their mother, but the mother went on to have other kids, and the other kids had a relationship with her. And she's like, okay, you didn't come back and get me. What's going on? Like, what's wrong with me? So from those abandonment issues is what caused their cutoff game to be what it is. Now, them sharing that to me is not something for me to throw back at them, but it does help me understand certain reasons or certain ways that how they operate. So without me throwing that back in their face as to why they need to reconcile some relationship with this, I know the information, and the information that I know helps me communicate with them better than I could without knowing it itself.
Yeah.
But just pulling it up and mentioning that, now you don't want what happened with you and your mom to happen. No.
Terrible.
Right.
Terrible.
No, I never bring it up. But
No.
it's just the
Right.
knowledge itself helps me help them.
That's good.
Yeah, because you bring it up, that's a choice that you made at the end
and
of
you,
the day.
right. And you got to know when people are sharing stuff, intimate things with you in some form of confidence, even if they say, don't tell nobody else. You know when somebody's having an intimate, confidential type sharing of information with you. And even the stuff they bring, I don't bring it back up unless they bring and until they bring it back up, I never bring it back up again.
Right. Agreed.
That's not a tool for me to use at my leisure whenever it fits, it fits my conversation angle. No.
But what I have found out, people who are very traumatized will use that against you.
They sure will.
They will bring it back up and make sure they rub it in your face. This is why your mama did this, and this is why your daddy did this. And I think what I found out really too is they react to what they seen in their past, people they've been around. They just roll with it. This is what I saw at home, and we be telling people that ain't right, but we have to realize that the people that we're talking to, that's their right, because that's what they see. I don't care how much we try to beat their head in it. What I seen at home, that's my right. I don't know nothing else.
Yeah, they regurgitating toxic behavior. But that's why I also said it's my right to know my voice, my value, and I have the ability to withhold what I want to from people. And if you have not earned me telling you these, and the funny thing is, because even on Free Thinkers, I tell a whole bunch of information. I tell a lot of my information. I kind of just leave it out there. And there's certain times that people will in, you know, non-video settings. If they meet you in person, then they may try to bring up certain things, and I won't even respond to it. What I said was what I said on there, but that don't mean I gave you permission to have a conversation with me about it on your terms. That's what I chose to share at that time.
That's right here.
That's cute.
You come back next Tuesday and you can have a conversation on live if you want to.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean that in a mean way. It's just I have that's me having control over my voice.
Yep.
You don't get to tell me when I choose to talk about certain things. And even if you heard me speaking about it a couple days ago, I can choose not to speak about it now.
Yep.
Or not to speak about it with you.
Yep.
It's all, you know, it's my voice.
Yeah. I said that earlier to somebody on my Facebook in a conversation. I said, I'm not even coming back to reply if you comment. I said, because this shit is nauseating to me. I'm not even coming back to this. Like, you keep typing if you want to, but I'm not coming back. I'm done. So but using your voice, finding your voice, being comfortable with your voice, finding self, being comfortable with finding self, knowing how to use yourself in the places and where you have to use yourself, and all the things that come along with it. There's a lot of power in that. And I don't mean power like a control of power, but there's a lot of power in saying, shit, that's me. I co-sign on what I said. I co-sign on how I feel. I co-sign on and more than anything, I'm not affected by the response. If I don't want to talk to you, I don't have to.
Right.
If I don't want to engage in, this dialogue, I don't have to. Right. If I don't have to. I don't have to. In most cases, we don't. We usually just do. We get baited into things. So there's power in that when your yes is yes and your no is no. You get comfortable with yes being yes and no being no. And you get comfortable with not being terribly concerned with how somebody else feels about your comfortability with yes being yes and no being no.
And so one of the things that I learned, the more that you exercise your voice and you have command over your voice, you actually set boundaries for other people as well. Because they know where you stand, they know what you're for, they know what you're against. They see, for people who don't exercise their voice, then you have people who habitually step over the line when it comes to being intrusive about asking things or saying things that they shouldn't say, because you haven't established. When you don't establish your voice, then you also haven't established the boundaries of your voice in your conversation. So what I learned is also there was, even with doing Free Thinkers, and even more so because we've been doing Free Thinkers Meeting of the Minds for a long time, and I have a very my family has a very strong religious background. I'm not just my immediate family, but I got 7, 8 aunts, uncles, a large family, and they're all very religious. So even when we started doing this online, they started hearing sides of me that they never heard before. And some of them, it took them back a little bit, like, okay, Q, you talking about some wild stuff here. You saying some wild, but the more I talk, the more I establish the value of my voice and my opinion in. Not only do people know that I'm very confident on where I stand, but if you listen to me long enough, you'll see where I'm actually coming from. And that I'm not coming from a place of ignorance, and regardless of what you agree with what I say or not, it's coming from a place of thought.
Right.
And that in itself, it makes the next person, before they come to me asking me, they better have their thoughts together before they just start questioning why I'm saying what I'm saying. Because I'm gonna question you too. Why do you believe what you believe? And why do you believe I don't have, I can go down the line. Why do you believe I don't have the right to say that?
Mhm.
So if you're not prepared to answer some of those questions, then people be like, well, yeah, I ain't even trying to go down that line with you. We at 1:30. Did we get it all out?
Yeah. We want to ask a final question.
Do we what?
I want to ask a final question.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure I've asked some version of this question a million times on the show, but we're doing it again. So then my question, I would say, what advice would you give your younger self on how to find you as you are today? What would you tell them?
Oh, I know. And you know what? Okay. So a couple things that I wrote down. Just two. I think I only got three. Two. Number one. Write down what you believe are your parents' core values. Number one, the core values. Think about the top 5 core values of your parents. Think about the top 5 core values of your friends or the people that's closest to you. Because the reason I say that, the chances are, whatever your parents' core values are and the people that's closest to you, you've probably adopted those values for yourself as well without examining if those are actually your core values. So a lot of times, without knowing it, you are living in the identity of someone else, your family, your parents, the people around you, without even knowing it. That's not necessarily a good, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But what's bad is that you haven't defined it for yourself.
Yeah.
You still need to define. And it could be, oh yeah, the same values that they have are the ones that I have. Or you examine and be like, yes to that, but I'm going to replace this with this and this. And you have to, this is a part of you getting to know who you are, deciding for yourself and not just letting how you grew up and everything around you dictate who you are and what your values are. So that's number one. That's what I would just suggest people do. Number two, I would say stretch yourself, experimentally stretch yourself out wider. Now, there's certain things that you don't like. If you know you don't like it, then you don't have to stretch yourself out to it. But there's certain things that you have not experienced yet to even know if you would or wouldn't like it. You got to try stuff to get to know yourself better. Like for I don't like going out to clubs. Have you? Well, okay, maybe not the club that you see your friend going to, but what about a chess club? What about social gatherings? What about a coffee? What about a coffee place where they stretch yourself out to find out different things that you may or may not like about yourself. What it will do is give you more clarity. Yes, I like this. No, I don't like that. Like I've learned, I do like going out sometimes in social gatherings. I don't like being in really loud places where I can't have conversation.
Yeah.
So the typical club where all you hear is music, and I gotta lean over and yell in your ear just to have anything we have. I'm not interested in that. I like to go to nice social places where you can actually talk though, because I'm about the conversation. I'm like, fine, I want to find a good. So maybe some type of hookah lounge or something like that. I might like that a little bit more because there's a more social conversational environment. You don't know these things until you try them, though. So you just got to give yourself the freedom to try different things that you may have sparked curiosity in to find out if you like them or if you don't. Those are the things I say. Those are steps to helping find yourself. But don't be like a kid. This is one thing that kids used to do all the time. Oh, you want some sushi? Ew, sushi. I don't want. Have you ever tasted it before? No. Yeah. How you know if you don't like it or not? You ain't even tried it.
Right. Try more than one sushi and make sure you try put that soy sauce on there. Put that wasabi on there, y'all. Because the first time I tried sushi, I want to say to Q's point, not only should you try it, but you should try it more than once
Yes.
when it comes to things, because things change. First time I tried sushi, it was gross. I love sushi now.
Right,
I love it.
right.
I would say too, to Q's point, I would say I would tell younger me, definitely experiment. Just try stuff. Just try it. Like without any expectation of anything. Just try it, because don't always future cast why you're doing something. Like, I'm gonna do this and then these things are gonna happen. Go into an experience for the experience. Yeah, there might be some things attached to it, like go into a casting call. Yeah, you might get called to be a model in X, Y, or Z. But if you put whether or not you're going to enjoy the experience on if you're casted or not, you're missing out on a whole experience, because you are attaching an outcome to an experience versus just going and having an experience. And I think that would be like the biggest thing that I would tell myself is go have experiences. Don't attach outcomes. Don't have guilt for making bad decisions. Even in the bad decisions, you're going to learn something. And, you're not perfect. You're never going to be perfect. But as soon as you accept that you're you and you're beautiful, you're going to radiate a different kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
But like self-acceptance radiates this different vibe. Like if you're having a good day and you're feeling good on the inside, even if you're listening to a certain kind of music, you will notice that people will react to you differently based on how you feel about yourself that day. And so it's imperative that you feel good about yourself, which means you should be affirming yourself every chance you get. And if you're around people that make you feel like you have to shrink, you got to get around different people. And you should never, ever, ever shrink yourself for the comfort of others. Because let me tell you something, young girl, it don't matter if you shrink or not, they're going to be uncomfortable. And they're not going to like you if that's what they want to do. So you may as well shine brightly and go on with your life. And whoever can deal with the shine, they can come on. Whoever can't, they need to get a pair of glasses or stay away from you. But you should shine regardless of what's happening or who's around you. And that's the information I would give myself about finding myself.
Well, I think what I would have told to my younger self, I keep thinking about it, is probably how I feel like I've raised my children, right? Is to just have the voice. Have the voice. Have the voice. Know that you have one to be able to use whenever you need to use it. Because once you know that you have it, then you're able to start honing your craft. You don't have to. The only acceptance that you need to be concerned with is your own. That would probably be the advice I would have given to younger me. You do not need anybody's acceptance except yourself, because really, until you accept yourself, it doesn't matter who the fuck you attract or not. They're probably not going to give you what you want, because you can't even give you what you want. Which again, as a teenager, how much are we supposed to know? And again, and we've talked about this many times on here, a lot of us didn't really even realize until we're in our 30s and 40s how questionable some of our, upbringings were and exposures to things were, and why we are the way we are, why it is that way, until later in life. And a lot of us are parents to where it's like, you really see it differently when your kid's not a 2-year-old and the 4-year-old and the 6-year-old and the 8-year-old. You start getting you a 10, 12, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20-year-old. You're like, fuck, this is a real person. This is a real whole adult that I've got to prepare and send out here into this world. So I feel like because I had my first child really, really young and had 2 more after her, I've been on the continuous journey of affirming to myself to use your voice, to be comfortable with your voice, and to seek only self-acceptance. Even when I'm not accepting of myself sometimes, I don't give a fuck about yours. I got to get me right first. And I don't think that was ever a message. I got a lot of messages growing up. I love how I was raised. I love what my dad brought to my life. I love where I come from. I'm grateful from where I come from. Super grateful from where I'm come from. But there was a lot of stuff I didn't get either. And I didn't get it until I became an older woman and experienced enough pain. That was the thing I thought about today when I thought about this. What brought me to the journey of finding self or feeling like I needed to find self? Pain. Pain brought me to the journey. Empowerment and peace has kept me on the journey. So I think just imparting that into me as a younger person, however I could do that without the life experiences that we didn't have as younger people, that's still my message to younger self. And that's what I try to implore into my children.
So
Jermaine,
what was the question?
what would you tell to your
What?
younger self?
What I would tell my younger self, if I had to do it all over again, I think I'll take the same journey. Because the journey that I took made me who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So okay,
And
let me rephrase this, Jermaine. So if you time travel, you go back to your younger self, you run into him, and then your younger self like, dang, okay, well, do you got any advice for me before you leave? You got any advice? Or you gonna be like, nope, I ain't got no advice. Just
nah, I'm not gonna tell myself that I don't have no advice.
Well, okay. What would
But
you tell your younger self?
I would just say, there's a journey ahead, and you may want to make a different decision. That's all I can tell him.
So are you telling him about a specific decision that he need to make, or like?
I just really want him to figure it out. I want him to think about the decision that you're going to make before you make it.
Are
I
you
didn't
gonna
think
tell him
about
which
the
decision it
decision.
is, or he just gonna like when you come across it, you gonna know?
You gonna know because
Hmm.
I went straight forward off the porch. I didn't think about a decision because I didn't know, but I want him to see for himself about the decisions that he's about to make.
And your younger
That's
self be
just
like,
me.
all right, am I about to mess something up? If so, then you better tell me what I need. You are me. What do I need to do?
They have anger.
And that's something that I tell my sons now,
Right.
because I see when you're young, you're reckless.
Mm.
And no matter what I tell you, you're still gonna do it. So I just want you to make the best decision. So he may think about, am I gonna put it in my hand at a young age? Uh, be mindful of your surroundings and watch everybody around you. What are they doing? You know, I don't think that if I tell somebody something, you know, what are they really learning? Are they really learning the
That's
real?
true.
Are
Come
they
on.
really
Mm-hmm.
learning real life?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to handicap the younger me, but I just hope that he make the better decision that I made because I made some decisions that, yeah, I'm not proud of, but I will hope going back that he will make the better decisions that I didn't make.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of off, but I want him to learn something out of the decision because you're going to make some bad decisions, even if I tell you not. It's how you overcome the decisions that you make.
Right.
Do you stay in that decision or do you look at the decision a different way? Because we're all going to make decisions as young people, a younger version of ourselves. We made some bad decisions, but when we're coming up now, for young people now, they're making a lot of bad decisions. What are you going to do about your decisions?
Ooh.
I
So
live through
you
my decisions.
only thing I would tell myself, just trust yourself earlier.
Yeah.
Trust yourself earlier.
Trust yourself.
And regardless if you can understand this or not, life goes like that. So you
Yep.
make sure you
It's
make
good.
you make every day count for you,
That-
and you decide what a successful and a happy and fruitful and productive and meaningful and joyful day means to you.
Right.
Nobody else gets to decide that. You get to decide
Mhm.
what that looks like for you. That's what I would tell my younger self.
Mhm.
Cause I'd have left that bag of stuff on the table and walked away if I thought about it. If I know what I know today, ooh wee, man.
Well, we're at 145. We get it all out.
I'm good. I loved this. I love how me not having a voice and not knowing if I was going to be able to talk tonight turned into Denise working her jelly
There you go.
and brain. It was like, boom, this is what we talking about. I was like, oh God. I was like, yes, I love this. Finding our voice, I was like, this could be really, really good. But this was one of those conversations that I think that nobody ever has. Really. So
Yeah.
I love this. I hope that, I hope that this was as good for people watching as it was for me, because I've literally been thinking about this all day today. So I hope that other people who, listen to us tonight or listen to us, later on, start asking themselves these same exact questions. Like, have I found my voice?
Right.
How much of my truth am I living in? Like, I really hope we can revisit this, or somebody will join us in a couple weeks and be like, y'all had this conversation 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, a couple months ago, and this shit been on my mind ever since.
Because you got your younger kids coming up, and what do you want them to experience?
Yeah. Yep.
What are you gonna say to them? How are you gonna have the conversation? What
Yep.
is your voice gonna sound like to them?
Yep. And back to those ripples.
Yeah, and thank Jermaine. I think this is your first time coming on Free Thinkers, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Yeah.
all right, first time.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, no, I don't talk in front of mics and stuff. I don't talk online. This is my first time. I don't say too much, but I have so much in me to say.
See, it was so scary. It was not too shabby.
I don't even know how many people watching.
Look, we don't either.
Oh,
They don't.
you don't. Yeah, but you'll be
I assume
surprised.
nobody's
yeah.
watching, so I can just say whatever I want, and then I find out later. I'm like,
Oh yeah. No, I be walking through HEB, random people who I don't even. Oh yeah, I saw your show yesterday. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I had somebody a couple weeks ago tell me that they were mad at me because I was like, what did I say? I was like, what particular conversation made you mad? What did I say that upset you? And they're like, I just been watching long enough to realize like you don't believe in God. And I'm like, that's what you got out of all of this? Like, okay,
I'm sorry. I had to tell them I do believe in God, and I do base every decision that I make now on God. So that's the way I go.
sorry, she be praying low key.
where the conversation took a little bit of a turn. So as he's telling me, like, you don't believe in God, I was like, so you either watched for 2 seconds,
Yeah, you
or
wasn't really listening. Yeah.
you're in your feelings right now. And he was, so we ended up having like a good 30-45 minute conversation about, it's not that I don't believe in a creator. It's not that it's not that per se at all, right? Like this person actually did.
Ooh, Nikki. See, now in your situation, I wouldn't have said none of that. I was like, oh, you ain't listening all the way. Huh?
Well, this is somebody I've known for.
I would have saved the rest of my voice, because the fact you came at me making this accusation when you clearly didn't do your homework or read or listen to the whole podcast, all I would have been like, oh, I see you did. I saw you only listen to a small part.
What it turned into for him and I's conversation was the power of the brainwashing of religion, right? This is what it turned into. So it started off with, I'm mad at you because you don't believe in God, but that's because this person sat for 20 years, did 20 years in the penitentiary. Well, who generally gets you through 20 years in the penitentiary? I said, you had a 20-year relationship that you curated. while you sat behind bars. I said, I've had 20-year relationship that I've curated out here that have made my relationship very different. I said, you've only been out a couple years. So you just kind of come back into having to trust yourself. I said, but I just push your buttons because I say shit that makes you think. And you don't want that because you want to continue to believe the lie that you've been taught to believe.
Hold on. I see the future, and we're gonna be on here for another 30 minutes. Before we do that,
brainwashing.
What'd you say?
Brainwashing needs to be an episode.
We can do that.
I'm good with brainwash. We can do that next week. I'm good with that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Is next week last Tuesday?
I think so.
Is it already that quick?
Yeah, next week is last Tuesday. Next week is 24th.
Oh, okay. Well,
next week is last Tuesday, but we will definitely get into it live then on the 1st. So July 1st, we'll do brainwashing July 1st. We will definitely go back because that goes in a lot of different places, man. And this we see it left and right now in our social climate.
Oh yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Oh, okay, guys. So next week, especially if you live in the Austin area, make sure that you come meet us in person. It's a different vibe, different crew, different group of people, and it's food.
Yes.
So
yeah,
make sure that you come check out the Facebook page. I'm pretty sure we'll be in the same spot, but just
all right. We'll have details
on it. Yeah. But it's listen. As much as we enjoy being on here live and we may talk like nobody else is listening, when we go in person once a month, then we don't go live and it will be not open to the public as far as viewership and on social media. And it's a totally different vibe. It's where Freethinkers started out of. It's the reason we're able to speak so freely is because we had these sessions for many years in person, and we were able to develop these type of conversations before we got to the airwaves. So you definitely want to check us out in person. It's a good time.
Yeah, so next Tuesday we'll have more details on the Facebook page. Definitely follow all of our channels if you have not. And 9 out of 10 times we're going to be exactly where we're supposed to be. Just in the event that something is, let me just confirm everything, make sure everything's been confirmed. But we will for sure be meeting live in person next Tuesday, regardless of where we're at. We will be meeting next Tuesday, 8:00. So if you're 512, put that on your calendar. Come out and join us, man. It's always a good time. It's always a great time, and it is a very different energy. It's great, and then come back on a Tuesday live and be like, wow, y'all were right.
Right.
But be next week. Thanks y'all for coming out, and Jermaine, thank you for being here. This is your first time on here. Those of y'all who watched us, please make sure that you share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. I don't have nothing else to close out unless y'all do.
Nope. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.